It's a wonderful summer, and a girl we'll call Emma, who's hasty and lively, has a dilemma. For you see, this young girl and all her friends too are in search of the perfect playground for their four strong crew. There's Paul the tall, and if I recall, he likes playing with critters that fly, walk, or crawl. There's Josie, short for Josephine, and she's so haughty you'd say she's a queen. Finally, there's Alex, the manette of the four. He really likes painting and hates doing his chores. And thus their quest brought them high, low, far, and wide, until they found a sound place in which to play and to hide. "I'm the Monkey King," said Paul as he swung oh so silly. And while Josephine started collecting lilies, Alex was pondering what muse next to draw. But when he looked towards Emma, a strange thing he saw. "I found this wand. I think that it's magic," grinned Emma as she waved the unusual stick. But before she could think up which spell to cast, a big rabbit surprised them by dashing out fast.
"This is my home. You four are intruding. And the wand that you're holding isn't very suiting for children to play with. So give it back here."
But while the others were frightened, Emma just sneered. "You made me see stars when I fell to the ground. So here's what I tell you with the wand which I found. For a lint and a hair, I now curse you, Hare, and like a floating grain go live with the rain. Up in the clouds, never to be found. To not be seen anymore, and scare no one no more." And thus, as the big rabbit started to float, he left Emma a warning of which to take note.
"Because you're so wicked, oh little girl, the yield of your bad deeds will start to unfurl. To everyone you meet you shall be a churl, unable to untwist the hex that I purled. Like giants you'll grow, not fit anywhere, until you'll beg pardon from this here old Hare."
Perplexed by his warning, Emma started to speak. But as she opened her mouth, her voice was so thick, 'cause now she was growing the size of a barge, and her friends were all frightened 'cause she was so large. "If she falls, she will crush us," one of them shrieked, while another one urged them to hide away quick. Just like that, they departed, not to be crushed, and our giantess Emma after them rushed, for she wanted to tell them that she was still their friend, and to do them harm she would never intend. "How in the world are we going to play with you now?"
"Emma, you're so huge."
"Be careful, you'll crush us." But quite unfamiliar with her fresh new size, a bike on the road took her by surprise. It belonged to a boy in a honeydew cap, and he wasn't quite happy when her feet made it snap. But when Emma bent over to pick up the bike, she toppled the fruit stand of some guy called Mike. Yes, when Emma bent over to pick up the cycle, she toppled the fruit stand of some guy called Michael. Upset that he lost half the fruit from his storage, Michael took aim and threw towards Emma an orange. And seeing the merchant was in the mood to grapple, Emma picked up and threw towards him a pineapple. In need of a pause from the tiring fruit fighting, Emma hid behind the pastry shop so inviting. It smelled of almond horn cookies and raspberry rolls. But by this point, Emma was feeling out of control. What good to behave when as a colossus I stand? I can break anything with just a wave of my hand. No one will accept me when I'm this giant, so it's best to become naughty, mean, and defiant. No doubt about it. She stood up as she shrugged, and with both of her hands the chimney she plugged. Thus, smoke started filling cellar, attic, and rooms, and all of the dwellers came out from the fumes. "We've had enough of this rascal," they raged. "We're calling the cops because you should be caged." But when the cop came, she was too big to cuff her. So instead, they thought and came up with an offer.
"We can't arrest you since you're so gigantic, but we also can't endure any more of your antics. You've brought us nothing but heartache and pain. Go into the forest where you shall remain."
And so forth, Emma understood she was banished, dropped her hands by her side, hung her head, and she vanished. "You bad girl, go away!"
"You've brought us nothing but damage. Go into the woods."
Alone in the forest, Emma felt rather empty, and she had to admit that she's been kind of petty. Not just with the rabbit, but the townsfolk too. Oh, if only she could find a way to undo all the grief that she caused and brought onto others. But while thinking that way, a chance she discovers. A family of 4 that was returning to town had the utmost misfortune of an oak falling down, in a manner which made it hopeless to pass. Could this be a job for our Herculean lass? So she got down and with absolute ease cleared the path of that pesky tree in a breeze. Back in town, they put in a good word for their hero Emma, and like that she returned. "You have grown in stature, but also in our eyes. Since you helped out these people, we'll accept your new size," cheered all the townsfolk. Her bad deeds were history, and what happens next to her is a mystery. Caramel squares and bubblegum that sticks. For Emma to be small again. Turn to page 36. Chocolate-covered raisins, peanuts, cherries, and more. For Emma to stay giant. Turn to page 44.